Just because I posted a sentence on social media, my husband decided to leave me, who was pregnant, in the middle of a snowy mountain at night. I begged him. But he just looked at me coldly. Serafina is still in the emergency room fighting for her life. Can't you stop this? It's just a pregnancy. What's the big deal? I was thrown out of the car, unable to resist, my body covered in the smell of blood, attracting the attacks of wild beasts. While fleeing, I accidentally fell off a cliff, breaking 3 bones. The pain was excruciating, and I struggled desperately like a dying dog, my wounds bleeding and staining the snow red. After dawn, I was rushed to the hospital due to severe bleeding and hypothermia and received emergency treatment. When I woke up, I saw my lost lower leg, and tears finally flowed down my face. Thaddeus Winslow, let's divorce. Thaddeus gently held my hand, but the words stuck in his throat. What did you say? He gently touched my wound. Don't worry. Although we've lost this child, we can still have others in the future. I'll help you find the best prosthetic limb. Hearing his gentle tone, I was momentarily speechless. This man who seemed to love me so much, was he really the same person who had abandoned me in anger yesterday? Yesterday was my birthday, and he had even suggested taking me skiing. He was usually very busy with work, so I was thrilled for this rare opportunity. We boarded the cable car and admired the mountain views. At the highest point, we kissed passionately when Serafina Lockwood's phone suddenly rang. Are you a family member of Serafina? She just had an accident at the beach and is currently being treated. Please come sign the papers immediately. Thaddeus insisted on going down the mountain, but I held him tightly. Why her again? Every time I'm with you. She always finds some excuse to take you away. I felt resentful and angry. Serafina is the younger sister of Thaddeus's childhood friend. After his friend's family had an accident, Thaddeus took responsibility for taking care of her. But that doesn't give her the right to keep taking Thaddeus away from me, especially since Serafina openly provoked me the night before. Just wait, Thaddeus will definitely come to be with me tomorrow. I told Thaddeus the truth, but he looked at me with disappointment. Why are you always butting heads with Serafina? I've already told you, she's like a sister to me. She's in critical condition. How could I not go? I'll make up for your birthday tomorrow, okay? This isn't the first time he's done this to me. Every time I trust him, he ends up letting me down. Remember the first time it was my birthday? Serafina said she wanted to visit her brother's grave. But in the middle of the night, she called Thaddeus out of my bed. The second time was on Christmas, when Serafina said she had a bad dream about her brother and ended up in the hospital. The third time was on New Year's Eve, when Serafina said she missed home, and Thaddeus still took her back to my house for the New Year's Eve dinner. Time and again, Thaddeus has always been willing to compromise for her. This time, they actually left me, who is pregnant, alone in the mountains. I still remember the helplessness and embarrassment I felt at the time. When I was first abandoned, I felt a wave of heat in my stomach, and soon there were blood stains on my black pants. The pain in my stomach was unbearable. So I reluctantly called Thaddeus. Thaddeus, my stomach hurts so much, it really hurts. His tone immediately became tense. Wait for me, I'll be right there. Just then, Serafina's voice suddenly came through the phone. Sure enough, Alara doesn't like me. As soon as I arrived at the hospital, she said she wasn't feeling well. Thaddeus, go pick up Alara. I don't need you here. As soon as she finished speaking, Thaddeus immediately expressed his doubts. Can you stop being so unreasonable? You're in such good shape. You can even ride a horse while pregnant. How could you feel unwell after just a few minutes on the snowy mountain? Wait, I'll come pick you up later. He hung up coldly, and my heart sank. I dragged my feet down the path, knowing the blood scent would attract nearby beasts. To my surprise, a herd of wild boars charged toward me. I panicked and ran forward, but the snow blocked my vision, and I fell straight off the cliff, breaking 3 ribs. My calf was stuck between tree branches, and I couldn't move. My phone was nowhere to be found. In the freezing cold of -20 degrees, I felt colder and colder, and my lower abdomen began to ache in waves. At that moment, I realized that in Thaddeus's heart, no matter how much he cared about me, I wasn't as important as Serafina. The doctor said I could be discharged in the afternoon. I'll go handle the paperwork for you first. Thaddeus seemed to be avoiding something and quickly left the ward. Not long after, Serafina appeared at the ward door. Her gaze tinged with arrogance. You really know how to cause trouble. It's just a leg injury. Why should Thaddeus help you? You could have done it yourself. Just then, Thaddeus returned and furrowed his brows slightly. Serafina, don't say that, she said, tilting her head and playfully wrapping her arm around his. Thaddeus, think about Alara. She's lost a leg and will have to adapt to life without it. She should get used to using a wheelchair now. She needs to learn how to take care of herself. Alara, you too? Thaddeus has to work every day. Even if we find someone to take care of you, you still need to adapt to life without legs. Her words made Thaddeus nod repeatedly. Alara, Serafina does have a point. The phantom limb throbbed slightly, and her nails dug deeply into her pal Mtikes. Her throat felt a bit uncomfortable again. I just looked at him and said, "Give me the form." Serafina immediately pushed me into a wheelchair and made me sit in the bustling hospital lobby. The crowd was too noisy, so I could only push the wheelchair forward slowly. Thaddeus gave me an apologetic look, but he didn't say anything. When taking the elevator, the wheelchair took up space, making others feel a bit uncomfortable. An old man was muttering angrily at me, saying, "You don't even have legs. What are you doing out here? Aren't you just causing trouble for society?" You're right, disabled people should just stay home. What a drag, coming to the hospital and seeing disabled people. Just then, someone suddenly pushed me hard, and the elevator doors opened. I fell out of the wheelchair quickly. In the crowd, someone accidentally stepped on my finger. I looked up and saw Thaddeus in the distance, furious and about to come over, but Serafina stopped him. Thaddeus, Alara will definitely encounter such things in the future. You have to help her get used to it. Seeing Alara like this, I was reminded of my brother losing his legs, and tears welled up in her eyes. After a few tears fell, she immediately threw herself into Thaddeus's arms. "Thaddeus, I miss my brother so much." Thaddeus immediately pushed me aside and held Serafina tightly in his arms. "Don't worry, I'm here. You won't be wronged." Serafina clung tightly to his sleeve, crying uncontrollably. "But Alara doesn't like me. She's your wife. Will you send me away?" "How could that be?" Thaddeus comforted her gently. And the people around them couldn't help but tease, "Look at this cute couple." I stood up awkwardly from the ground, looking dazedly at the two of them together, feeling surprisingly relieved. If I can't have it, I might as well let it go. Thaddeus finally arrived. "Alara, you have to take the first step to slowly get used to life in a wheelchair." He lifted me into the car, and Serafina followed. "Thaddeus, my sister invited me to go horseback riding tomorrow. Could you take me, by the way, Alara?" "Do you want to?" She stopped mid-sentence, realizing what she had said, and quickly covered her mouth. "Oh, Alara, I'm sorry. I forgot you lost your legs. That's such a shame. You loved outdoor activities so much. How will you manage without legs, Alara? I'm really sorry. It's all my fault. I shouldn't have let Thaddeus come find me yesterday." Before she could finish, Thaddeus interrupted her. "This has nothing to do with you." She went off on her own into the mountains. "Didn't I tell her to wait for me there? Now she's lost her legs because she was being stubborn. Lara, you can't be so reckless next time." I didn't say anything, but Thaddeus suddenly got angry. "Say something. Look how much Waiwei blames herself for you. Don't push all your mistakes onto others, okay?" The car braked suddenly, and Thaddeus said angrily, "Alara Whitcomb, don't talk back to me." Serafina pretended to persuade him. "Thaddeus, don't be angry. It's all my fault. Alara never liked me anyway. I should just get out of the car. I'll move out of the house tomorrow." After saying that, she really opened the car door and left without looking back. Thaddeus hurriedly got out of the car to chase after her, but Serafina quickly disappeared into the crowd. Bang, he kicked the car door violently, pulled open the passenger door, grabbed my arm tightly, and glared at me sternly. "What do you think you're doing? You won't listen to me when I'm talking to you, and now you want to drive Waiwei away. She's just a little girl. Going out alone at night is really dangerous. Do you understand? If something happens to her, how will I explain it to her brother? I really don't understand why you're being so selfish." A bruise appeared on my arm, and there was no warmth on his face. I took deep breaths, trying to calm myself down. "What should I do then?" Thaddeus paused and asked. What? I looked up at him. "You're worried about her being out so late. But did you think about me when you left me alone on the snowy mountain? You said you'd come to pick me up. But I waited all night. I know I don't look good." I wiped the tears from the corner of my eyes and looked at him coldly. "Thaddeus, I'm carrying your child." He suddenly punched the car window and shouted, "Do you want to cause trouble?" Yesterday, Serafina's situation was so urgent. Why did you have to argue with her? How was I supposed to know you were pregnant and couldn't handle it? Besides, the miscarriage was caused by you running around recklessly. His tone turned serious. And he looked at me with a warning gaze. Don't mention this again, she'll feel guilty. Guilty? She probably doesn't even have time to feel happy. I tried to turn and leave, but Thaddeus pulled me back into the car. He drove off at breakneck speed, locking me in the bedroom. I'll figure out how to handle your leg. I'll go get Wai first. Don't worry, there's nothing between her and me. If you really care, I'll keep my distance from her. I lay in bed, mocking myself for choosing the wrong person. It was late at night, and Thaddeus hadn't returned yet. Serafina sent me a message. She was wearing her pajamas, lying in Thaddeus's arms, her face flushed. Don't worry, Thaddeus is sleeping soundly. Look, Thaddeus is even calling your name in his sleep. In the video, Thaddeus was softly calling my nickname. I felt extremely uncomfortable. When I opened my eyes again, I was suddenly pulled to the ground by a strong force. Serafina screamed, and Thaddeus grabbed my collar tightly, lifting my chin forcefully. Alara, you're completely crazy. How dare you insult Serafina? I've always been so good to you. Why are you treating me like this? He didn't care about my feelings at all, as if he wanted to hurt me deeply. His face was filled with anger. How could you be so cruel? I struggled to breathe, clutching his wrists and trying to explain. It was she who provoked me. You didn't come back last night, were you with her? Before I could finish, his grip on my neck tightened, and his face twisted with anger. Don't accuse me without proof. I was at Gideon Ashford's house last night. Wira only drove me there. How could you use such harsh words to insult a young girl? Why don't you try to improve yourself instead? Why should I apologize? If you don't believe me, just look at the chat records your good sister sent to my phone. Unfortunately, he threw my phone away. Stop saying that. It's obviously just another attempt to slander Wai. If you don't apologize to Wai, you'll have to leave here starting today. I won't find anyone to take care of you. I'll only bring you back when you and Wai can get along properly. I stared at him in shock. Thaddeus' lips were tightly pursed. What, starting to regret it? Then hurry up, I interrupted him. All right, I promise. But Thaddeus still found a reason to keep accusing me. Don't play games in front of me. Do you think this will control me, Alara? Be a decent person. Serafina's brother is my best friend. What right do you have to cut off my connection with her? I know you're unhappy, but do you really want me to bear the reputation of being untrustworthy? You've made our relationship so tense. Have you considered my feelings at all? I saw you being wronged. Don't you feel even a little bit of pity for me? He moved his lips and looked at me, saying, so, go apologize to Wai right now. There's no room for discussion. I suddenly felt exhausted. Thaddeus kept brushing me off, telling me to leave, yet he never let go of Serafina. How many more chances do I have to give him? I remembered how he pursued me back then, saying I was his first love and he'd always be good to me. Knowing I loved extreme sports, he accompanied me skydiving and rock climbing every year, even renting a ski resort in Switzerland just for me. After several years of marriage, I still hadn't conceived. People started gossiping, but he always supported me in front of others. I went through IVF treatments, giving it my all, and after 6 months we finally conceived, but in the end, we couldn't keep the baby. Looking back now, what did all that struggle really accomplish for Thaddeus? I gave up my job in Hong Kong and the opportunity to study abroad, just to stay by his side and become an extreme sports coach. One cannot place all their hopes on others. The only person you can truly trust is yourself. All right, I apologize. I looked at him calmly, with no trace of resentment in my eyes. Serafina smiled at me and said, Alara, you weren't forced here by Thaddeus, were you? I don't want to accept your reluctant apology, after all. You're my sister-in-law. Thaddeus heard this and immediately pressed my head down, forcing me to bow 90 degrees even in the wheelchair. Hurry up and say it? I spoke slowly. I'm sorry. I won't do this again. Thaddeus finally smiled, leaned toward me and kissed my forehead. That's better. You two need to get along well so I can rest easy. Serafina looked upset and a bit anxious. She turned around, grabbed Thaddeus's hand, and pouted, Thaddeus, take me to the horse ranch. I'm going to be late. Thaddeus looked at me and I smiled in response. Go ahead. I want to rest. He finally relaxed. All right, I'll come back later and bring you something to eat. Okay. As soon as they left, I booked a flight to Hong Kong. On my way to the airport, Thaddeus called me. The assistant said you bought a ticket. Is something wrong? I smiled happily. I just want to get out and clear my head. Don't worry, I've prepared something for you and Wai. You'll see when you get back. He didn't think much of it, but Serafina was already excitedly cheering. Thaddeus, come quickly ride the same horse as me. I interrupted his explanation. You go ahead. An hour later. The plane soared into the clouds and I had arrived in Hong Kong. The humid air hit my face. Isolde Barrington, who came to pick me up, was my former boss. Now she runs her own media company. Seeing her walk toward me, I instinctively pushed my wheelchair forward to hide my disability. Isolde quickly grabbed my hand. Don't worry, we already know. She looked at me gently and said, Alara, you're stronger than I imagined. Everything you've gone through will become your support in the future. I couldn't help but shed tears. The pent-up grievances of these days finally erupted completely. Isolde carefully wiped away my tears and said, I'm here. I promise you'll be fine in Port City. After packing my luggage at the hotel, Thaddeus kept calling. Judging by the time, he should have arrived home by now and seen the divorce agreement I left behind. Thinking of this, I hung up the phone and blocked him immediately. There was nothing left for us to talk about. The Victoria Harbor glowed softly in the late night, just like the happy wishes I had made here 10 years ago. Now I'm back, hoping to start over. But Thaddeus was more persistent than I thought. He called me on over a dozen different numbers. But I blocked them all. I couldn't understand why, after divorcing me, wasn't being with Serafina supposed to be a good thing, so I decided to call him. Hello, Thaddeus's voice sounded tired but also a bit surprised. You finally answered the phone, honey. Where are you now? Can we talk properly? Actually. The flight ticket his assistant found was forged by me. Thaddeus had no idea where I was. I guess he had already gone to Maple Leaf Country to look for me. I said calmly, Thaddeus, we're already divorced. I don't think there's any need to talk anymore. Thaddeus's voice betrayed obvious anxiety. What divorce? I never agreed to that, Alara. What's going on with you? Why did you suddenly want a divorce? Just say what you mean. This ambiguity is really unfair to me. He lowered his head to light a cigarette, his face filled with confusion. Alara, can you stop this nonsense? He made me laugh. How come, in his eyes, I'm the one abandoning the family? I don't want to hide anything anymore. Thaddeus, ever since you brought Serafina back, our relationship has reached a point of no return. I'm leaving to give you and Serafina some space. If you two get married, don't call me. I wish you both a long and happy life. Thaddeus was furious, and the phone was suddenly snatched by Serafina. Alara, how could you say that about me and Thaddeus? Do you know how much effort Thaddeus has put into finding you these days? How could you treat his genuine feelings like this? I impatiently interrupted her performance. This has nothing to do with you. I'll do whatever I want. Serafina was furious. You're so frustrating, Thaddeus. Don't go looking for her anymore. She probably has someone else on the outside. I can imagine her self-righteous expression. To my surprise, Thaddeus snatched the phone and coldly said, Alara isn't that kind of person. Don't talk nonsense. Serafina's voice trembled as she asked, Why don't you believe me? She ran out crying, and I couldn't help but laugh. Go find your good sister. No one will be your scapegoat this time. I hung up the phone. After that, he started harassing me every day, driving me crazy. I decided to forward all the messages Serafina had sent me over the years to Thaddeus. He finally quieted down. Thaddeus was so shocked his mouth dropped open. Those crude words kept flashing before his eyes. He couldn't believe that these words were spoken by the gentle and considerate Serafina. How could this happen? He couldn't accept it and couldn't help but recall what I had said earlier. Why are you staying by her side? She likes you. Can't you see that? She's just putting on a show in front of you. Why won't you believe her? I asked him excitedly, but all I got in return was his usual distrust. Every time I mentioned Serafina's flaws, he thought I was jealous. At first he was quite happy, thinking I still cared about him, but over time, he began to think I was petty, immature, and too selfish. That's why he always sided with Serafina. He couldn't help but think about the child we had lost. Although Serafina was fine now, she was still haunted by the past. When he found me in the snow, I had already hypothermia, and my condition was critical. Regret washed over Thaddeus like a tidal wave. He punched the wall with all his might, venting his frustration. Thaddeus, Serafina walked in carrying a lunchbox. Eat properly. Don't worry about Alara. We'll find a way to handle it. She opened the lunchbox, picked up a piece of food with her chopsticks, and handed it to Thaddeus. Thaddeus stared at her coldly, then suddenly overturned the table, sending hot soup splashing onto Serafina. She screamed. Her face filled with hurt as she looked at Thaddeus and asked, Thaddeus, what's wrong with you? What did I do wrong to make you so angry? Thaddeus suddenly grabbed her hair, forcing her to look up, and showed her the chat records. How dare you ruin my relationship with my wife? It's all because of you that she wants a divorce. Sending such messages is just asking for trouble? Serafina, I treat you like a sister, but that doesn't mean I'll indulge you unconditionally. Serafina's face turned pale. Looking extremely distressed, Thaddeus, please let go of me. She coughed violently, and Thaddeus pushed her to the ground. She hurriedly hugged his legs. Thaddeus, I didn't mean to. I just love you so much. Tears streamed down her face. I love you so much. Why can't you see that? Do you know how much I envy Alara? This makes me feel so unbalanced, she cried, looking at Thaddeus almost crazily. I just want the whole world to know that you're mine, you can only belong to me. I did it on purpose, taking you away from her time and time again. Thaddeus slapped her angrily. You're a crazy person, Thaddeus. It was you who caused her miscarriage, who left her without legs. It's all your fault. You chose me over her from the very beginning, and you were the one who pushed her away. Thaddeus, you're destined to belong only to me. Thaddeus was furious. Serafina, I truly misjudged you. If it weren't for your brother's dying wish for me to take care of you, I would have driven you away long ago. You love me, I'll tell you this. I'll never love you in this lifetime. Serafina lost her composure and grabbed Thaddeus's face fiercely. Alara has already filed for divorce. Why are you still thinking about her? She might already be with another man. What do you two have left? Thaddeus waved his hand behind him, and several assistants immediately stepped forward to restrain Serafina. Thaddeus rubbed his temples, looking exhausted. After a moment, he spoke, telling her to return to the Lockwood family's countryside, and that he had taken care of them during this time. It was time for her to go back. Serafina's eyes immediately filled with panic. How could you agree to my brother's request? You can't do this to me, Thaddeus. Please, I really don't want to go back. But no matter how she pleaded, Thaddeus remained unmoved. Take her away. Serafina eventually had to return to her old village. As December approached, the Christmas atmosphere in the port city grew thicker. I became increasingly proficient at my work. After losing my legs, I began to see the world from a new perspective. Before, I never noticed the uneven sidewalks or the illogical accessibility features. Now, I started using the media to emphasize the importance of accessibility. This project was very successful, and Isolde was happy for me. You looked very depressed when you came in the fall, and I was very worried about you at the time. I saw your determination to say goodbye to the past, so I knew choosing you was the right decision. I began to accept my legs and no longer resisted the fact. At the latest product launch event, I confidently rolled onto the stage in my electric wheelchair. Today, I stand here to tell everyone that no matter what difficulties you face, never give up on yourself. Half a year ago, I experienced the most painful thing in my life, losing my child and my legs. After that, I came to this city alone. I once thought about giving up, but I felt unfair. Why was I struggling so hard while you were living comfortably? So I made a change, and I believe you can do it too. As soon as I stepped out from backstage, someone called out to me, Alara, this is your brooch. The person's Mandarin wasn't very standard, but it sounded pleasant. I realized the brooch had fallen to the ground without me noticing. Thank you. Who are you? He introduced himself cheerfully. Alistair Kingsley. I was stunned and opened my mouth in surprise. You're Mr. Chen, I never expected. He continued. You didn't expect me to be so young, did you? A lot of people say that, I'm used to it. Alara, I came to ask if you'd like to try a metal skeleton prosthesis. Alistair's company specializes in smart technology and the medical field. That piqued my interest. Sure, I'd like to give it a try. He handed me his business card and said, Feel free to contact me if you have time. I won't bother you anymore. It seems like someone's waiting for you. I was wondering who could be looking for me. As I turned around, I saw Thaddeus walking toward me with a displeased expression. Who is that person? What's your relationship with him? I've been looking for you for half a year. How could you be so heartless, Alara? How could you give up this relationship so easily? Were you already with him all along? His eyes were bloodshot. Looking like a madman, but I found it particularly amusing. Yes, I am with him. What's it to you, Thaddeus? Do you know what you look like? You look like a mad dog. Barking and biting everyone. I'm telling you, we're divorced. You have no right to interfere in my life. I want to remarry and have children. It's my choice. It has nothing to do with you, I said angrily. Thaddeus looked at me, trembling slightly. I don't believe you, don't lie to me. You couldn't have developed feelings for someone else so quickly. I know you still care about me, Alara, I was wrong. I shouldn't have jumped to conclusions, don't be angry, okay? He sniffled and carefully took my hand. Alara, let's not get divorced, okay? I really love you. Serafina, I've already arranged for her to leave. She won't bother us anymore. We can be together now. We can have children in the future, Alara. Please give me another chance. I forcefully shook off his hand and looked at him with disdain. What, you sent Serafina away? And I'm supposed to thank you. You're as dumb as a pig hitting a tree. What were you doing when Serafina was bullying me? Thaddeus, you're so annoying. The biggest regret of my life was marrying you. Thaddeus felt his heart shatter, clutching his chest in pain. Don't say that, Alara. I know I've let you down. I'm truly sorry. I don't want a divorce. I only love you. I sighed and patted his shoulder helplessly. But I don't love you anymore. I don't want to be involved in your relationship with Serafina anymore. You're just a bad memory in my heart. How could I ever love you again? Get out of here? Or I'll call the police? Seeing how serious I was, Thaddeus had no choice but to turn around and leave. I thought he was so proud that he must have given up. But to my surprise, he settled down in Port City. This really bothered me. However, soon some good news came. Alistair invited me to try on an exoskeleton prosthesis at their company. The moment I put it on, the phantom limb pain that had been tormenting me for so long finally subsided. With his help, I slowly took a few steps forward. As I gradually got used to it, I realized that walking felt almost the same as before. This is amazing. I was so moved that I burst into tears and hugged Alistair tightly. Thank you so much. I never thought I'd have the chance to stand up again. I took a few steps toward the bed and saw the sun finally peeking through the clouds in the distance. I couldn't help but smile. Alistair drove me home, and from a distance I saw a man sitting downstairs. Thaddeus, I furrowed my brows again. What do you want? Thaddeus waved his hands to explain. I noticed you hadn't come back for a long time today, so I was worried about your safety and waited for you downstairs. I got out of the car, and when Thaddeus saw that I could stand, he also shed tears. That's wonderful, you can finally walk again. Congratulations, this time. I didn't refuse his congratulations, thank you, so please don't let me see you again. Every time I see you, I'm reminded of the legs I lost and that child. Your presence always drags me back into the shadows of the past. Thaddeus, can you please let me go? Now that I have legs, I'm a normal person. Is it really necessary for you to completely disappear from my life? Thaddeus spoke softly to me, as if his heart had been deeply shaken. I'm sorry. It's all my fault, wife. I just wanted to watch you from afar. Why won't you even give me this small chance? I truly love you. I'll personally rescue you from this predicament, please, dear. Let me love you one more time, okay? I can't. My answer was direct. Don't do anything that makes me hate you. Those words left Thaddeus speechless. He had lost a lot of weight, looked terrible, and his clothes were old and tattered. During this time, Thaddeus had lost all his former elegance. His back suddenly hunched over, and after an unknown amount of time, he trembled and asked me, "Do I really have no chance at all? But I just wanted you to be happy." However, what he gave me was not only happiness, but also a great deal of pain. I said nothing more and turned to go upstairs. That night, a torrential downpour poured down, and Thaddeus stood there on the ground floor, reluctant to leave. It wasn't until the next morning that he finally got into the car, looking exhausted. A few days later, a friend from the mainland told me that Thaddeus had returned, and I finally breathed a sigh of relief. Alistair and I gradually became more familiar with each other. One day, he confessed his feelings to me, but I didn't accept him. I felt that there were more important things for me to do right now than fall in love. I didn't have the energy to invest in a relationship, so I couldn't give you the same emotions or emotional return. So Alistair started chasing after me. I was just beginning to explore the world, and he was always right behind me. Suddenly, I received news from my friends back home. Thaddeus had died. He had committed suicide. The incident that had cost me my legs and my child had haunted him all those years, like a thorn that couldn't be removed. After returning to China, he worked tirelessly. And before his death, he left all his money to me. I donated all the money to an organization that helps people with disabilities. This way, more people could benefit. Later, I also started my own charitable work, striving to continue moving forward in the fields that interest me. The things that once hurt me have ultimately made me stronger.